Well, good day. Today I'm going to do a video on how I sharpen knives. Not that I'm still learning, and I've been practicing using stones a little bit now. I have got a jig, but I just found that was a no-brainer. It was easy. The real skill is in being able to sharpen these knives by hand. So I'm going to be doing a test soon of this knife, and I'll talk about that later on. It's quite glinted up on the edge. It's been in the kitchen. So I'm going to make sure that it's got a 17-degree edge on it. I'm going to resharpen it, maybe reprofiled a bit, and get it ready for the next video. So I just thought I would try and video how I sharpen the knives, and hopefully it'll be successful, and then use it later on. Yeah, it's just the thing I do, and I'll often start with a coarser stone anyway, just to make sure that I'm getting that apex right, because that's where most of the actual edge sharpening's done. The other stones, which I'll talk a little bit later on, are really just for getting that burr off and just refining the edge a little bit. But most of the actual performance is done on the heavier stone. So this one is a DMT diamond stone. I have got other diamond stones as well, but it's a small knife, so I'm just going to use this one for today and just show you my technique. It's not that great, but most of my knives I do get reasonably sharp, except for that Ganzo from the last video. I don't know, I'm going to have to try again on that one and see what's going on. But this knife is from Sanrenmu, and they're pretty good to sharpen, and they get really sharp as well. So that's what I'm doing today, and hopefully it's recording, and we'll see how we go. So just starting off with the heavier stone, I do use one of these angles just to make sure that it's exactly where I want it to be, and I'm not coming down or up on the edge. So, and I just like to use it as a guide. So I'm just going to start off with this portion first, and I'm just making sure, I think it's 17 degrees and not 20 degrees, but we'll soon find out. Yeah, it looks like I put a mark on there, and it looks like it is 17. So obviously it's quite curved on the end, which is always harder to sharpen. I just want to get this first edge going. And obviously if I just kept like this, I'm going to have a big groove. So at some stage we actually have to get onto that curvy bit. And so I'm just trying to get the point sharp now. Bring it around a little bit, but it's just getting that curve part right on the 17 degrees. You do want the edge to be consistent on the curve, otherwise you're going to get a variation which will be a hiccup. So I'm pretty much getting that curve right. The very tip needs a little bit more. Try and get it sharp right to the tip. Which I've now done. Still not perfect. And it's getting pretty good now. So that's looking good. This edge is a little bit under, which it often is on knives. So I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on that edge. Try and get it back a little bit. So the wrists you've got to keep straight, try and keep that angle the same. So it's forming a burr. It is still pretty thin on that edge. And if I wanted to get that right, I'd probably put it on the jig and really hook into it. But for now, I'm just going to keep it like that. And then I will probably just finish off doing the full stroke to try and get the transition smooth. That's the harder part because your wrist has to turn up. And it's easier to make a mistake on that curve. And yeah, if I look at that now, I have actually not got that right. I'm going to go back to this. And I've got it pretty much right now, and I can see the burrs formed on that all the way to the tip. Righto, now we'll do the other side. And this side I find a bit harder because I tend to roll back a little bit, so it's harder to keep the angle for me. On this side it's a bit harder to do. Let's see how we go. Just trying to get that grind right. Got a few flies here, I can't do much about that. We are in the country. Just trying to get that profile right. Generally I wouldn't go to this much trouble, but there was a bit of glinting on the edge, so it definitely needs some work. And sharpening videos are pretty boring to watch, aren't they? But it's just good sometimes to see what someone else does. And if I was editing, I'd be probably speeding this part up. Now I'm going to try and get that curve right. Which is really the hard part to do well. I'm actually better off on this side in actually doing the full turn, I find. So I just use a mix of it until I know that I've got it right. And then occasionally I'll just check and make sure my angle's not way out. And that's starting to take shape now. This edge again doesn't look the best. And I've just about got the transition right there. Just a little bit on this edge. Just going to put a bit more pressure there. And then get my whole transition. Right, and I can see the burrs formed all the way on that edge. pretty much. So it should be good to go to the next stone. I might do the blue one, a couple of turns. So this is a cheaper stone from AliExpress, but it's glass and it seems to work pretty well, but you do have to add water, so now it starts to get a little bit more messy. Now we're going on to a water-based stone. You don't need a lot, it doesn't need to soak or anything. A little bit more of the same. Just taking some of those heavy scratches out bit by bit. Oh, these flies. I think this one was about $25. And it tends to work well, but it's very thirsty and needs quite a bit of water, which I've got to keep out of the camera. I'm just trying to keep that wrist. I'm a little bit higher up than what I normally am doing. And just for the transition, I'll just try and do a couple. So we can see that I haven't messed up the grind of it too much yet. And I'm just going to spin that around. Give it some water. And try and keep that edge the same angle. I hope this table's working out a little bit better for you, Christian. And the camera. If you could, these flies. Yeah, see, this edge is good, this one not as good. Because the valley is so steep at the end of it, makes it a little bit harder. Right, go on to the next stone. Give it one. This is 1,000 grit Shapton glass, which comes in that box. which is probably reading the wrong way, unfortunately, with the camera. Oh well. And again, we need some water. So this one's just starting to refine the edge, get rid of the burr, nice flat stone. It's looking pretty good. Just trying to get a nice smooth transition into the belly while keeping our tip still good. Right, now the other side. And then I'll have one more stone and then I'll start to use the strop. It's the plan anyway. And now we're just trying to work on the transition again. It's very easy to lean it back and not keep that angle, I find anyway. It's looking alright, I think. Never know till that magic moment at the end when you test it. Right, and then I'm kind of trying to get through this a bit quicker. Normally I'd be a bit more meticulous. So this is a 6,000 stone, I think, so it's really just for polishing it and finishing off. Now this is going to be a long video, which will probably take me hours to upload. But anyway, what can you do about that? We used to have 3G here, and the government took it away, left us with 4G, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. So if I get up in the middle of the night, it'll be great. We're just going to work on that transition to make sure it's nice and smooth. And yep, it's looking pretty good. It's easy to get a hiccup on that curve at the end. Taking shape. Now for the other side. Well, my paper's getting wet to test. I have to get another one. So just occasionally I'll check and make sure the angle's good. Right at that point. And this is the hard part that you can really mess up. It's that valley. That's why I like 10 toes, it's just straight angles. So when I look at the edge, I'm hoping not to see any reflection of light in different ways. That means that it's not a smooth transition. Looking pretty good. And then what we do is we go from side to side very softly. Try and just remove any of the which is a lot harder in a fixed jig, fixed angle knife jig. I'm actually a little bit nervous because if this doesn't work out, well, you'll never know, but I've just wasted my time trying to record it. Alright, so just a few times there, just to try and remove that burr. And pretty much now the last thing that, sorry, wind got that and has messed it up. It's right on the edge of what it can stand. Yeah, so the last thing, I just want to do a couple of soft strops on this. A bit. You hear crunching, that's not good. There's a little bit of debris on there. So just that final burr removal. I don't think I did a paper cut test at the start, which was a bit silly. I meant to, that's why I had the paper there. And then the last thing is the strop. And I use this, you're not going to be able to see it, but I use this Tormex paste, which is a polishing abrasive kind of paste. And before I put that on, I get a bit of WD-40 just to oil it up a bit so it sinks into it. So it's just an abrasive paste, and it's cheaper than the diamond paste, and it goes a long way. So the next step is just to drop it, get rid of that final burr. I'll lead with the edge and try and get it in the same direction as the scratch marks. Give that belly a little bit of a hit. And then this has got nothing but just leather, and I should hear it scraping, and I know I'm on the right path, hopefully. And it's sounding all right. We will soon see. Right, the moment of truth, eh? Let me get a piece of paper. Sorry about that, that other one got a bit wet. And there we go. Beautiful. And I haven't failed. Good enough for the test anyway. I know Christian likes to do those little curly things, but I like to just test it and see if it's shaving sharp. And if you can see that's fallen off now, yes, we are there. So this one, not a problem, but yesterday, Ganzo, don't know. And there you go, hopefully that's focusing. And oh, half an hour, goodness. Righto, there you go, we'll see you soon.